thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
You know, Stanley, let's start with you.
I'm Stanley Grill, and I write music. And these days, the older I get, the more I write. I don't know what's happening, but it's just pouring out. So symphonies, string quartets, chamber music, vocal music, just one piece after another just keeps knocking on my door and saying, I want out.
Let them
I'm
out.
busy. I'm letting them out.
What have you written for dancers since?
So a couple of years ago, I decided, you know, composing is pretty much a solo activity. You sit at home, you write. It's very boring. There's nothing exciting to watch. It's just me in my attic with a laptop in front of me.
Sure.
But I decided I wanted to do some collaborating and get out there and do some work with other people. And I wanted to work with some dancers. So I've done a few different things with different dances just over the last couple of years. And one of the themes that keeps repeating throughout my music is my obsession about the possibility of world peace. And just hunting around online, I found a group called Artists for Peace. So I figured, hey, that's me. Right. Let's do it. And I got online and I started browsing through it. And there were a lot of other artists on there, obviously. And one of them was Mariko. And since then, we've done a lot together. We've got 2 dance videos with music of mine that Mariko choreographed and danced to, and we filmed. And Mariko did a big performance at Trinity Church to my symphony, Ahimsa, and to my string quartet, Transfiguration, as one sort of large dance work.
Mariko, why don't you tell us your name and a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, my name is Mariko. I am also an artist for peace. I am a dancer and choreographer. I was born and raised in Japan. I came to United States 15, 16 years ago. So I'm based in New York. Mm-hmm. My profession was Japanese buto. It's like a dance theater, mm-hmm. and it's very emotional. But through working with masters in master of buto dance, I learned how to express, how to become the state of being instead of performing the drama. And that skill is very, very useful to communicate with the audience. And personally, I volunteer for anti-nuclear activities. And I spoke with many Japanese people who come from Japan to speak at United Nations. Mm-hmm. Listening to their stories, we all found that there is a universal emotion. Like if you lose your son or father, you're extremely sad, right? So that feeling, that emotion is universal. Also, if you give birth to a child, or if you raise a child, or if you communicate and expand community, it's also it's lovely, and it's universal. So that emotion is able to speak to larger audience. That's how I think I try to connect with people as an artist for peace.
What's the first piece that you guys worked together?
We took music, a movement from a string quartet of mine called American Landscapes. And the story is basically that Mariko's locked in her apartment during COVID and desperate to get out.
Pandemic.
And suddenly grabs her keys, runs downstairs, hops into a an Uber, which is my car being driven by me. That was my cameo role in this. And winds up in Nyack, along the Hudson River. So that was the first one that we did. And it was just great working with her on that. And then there was a second one.
Yes, and then the Stanley composed this beautiful music piece entitled "Remember." Now, remember, then that inspired me to create some scenes that everyone can remember, being in woods, or being smelling the sweet smell in the woods, or hear the sound of wind, or the temperature of rock. In Japan, we have this Shinto spirituality, which is a little bit more, little bit like pagan. So we enshrine rock, huge rock, or enshrine ocean, enshrine 2,000 years old tree. So we believe in that there is a spirit in the great nature. And I personally like to draw that spirituality and create choreography and dance in the woods.
Wonderful. That sounds beautiful.
So
Yeah, and so remember. So how does that like connect to the earth for you, Stanley?
So the Remember was the title of a poem by actually somebody is poet laureate of the United States, an American Indian author. And remember is the constant refrain through the poem. Remember your mother, remember your father, remember the horses that are running, remember the great sky, remember the earth, remember all the colors, the browns, the oranges, the reds, the whites, the blacks. It's a gorgeous poem.
tell me about the two works that you performed at Trinity.
I first received email from the artistic director at Trinity Wall Street, Marilyn Green. Marilyn direct movement choir. Not every church has movement choir, but Trinity Wall Street does. And she's also an artist for peace.
You know what? Let me ask you. What is a movement choir?
Movement choir is like just like a choir at the church, but dance to dance instead of sing.
Okay.
Some at Trinity, they I think often dance for chapters and stories from Bible.
And Stanley, tell me about this piece. So what's this piece about?
For the program, we put together two pieces. One is a piece for orchestra, and it's a 20-minute, 4-movement work, which, with each movement, dedicated to people who inspired my ideas about peace. The first movement is called What My Grandfather Taught Me. And then the other following movements are Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and John Lennon. And I did what I like to do, which is a very thing that started in the medieval music and the Renaissance, which is working other melodies into the counterpoint, so that if you're just listening, you won't know that they're there.
Right.
But they're there. And so I took some of the melodies that Gandhi liked in his movement. I took some Protestant hymn, just some melodies, and worked them into it for Martin Luther King. And for John Lennon, some of his, Give Peace a Chance, and others are just worked in. So if you're listening, you go, oh, yeah, all we all say is give peace. There it is. It's in there.
Fabulous.
And so those people were heroes for me. And so that was a great program to work. And it concluded with a string quartet called Transfiguration for 4 violas. And the idea of transfiguration, which is that we all have the possibility to really change from what we are, which leads to the kind of agita and violence we see everywhere around us in the world, to something different. And it takes an act of will, but we can transfigure ourselves.
You're approaching a piece like Transfigurations. Like, what was your process and for dance there?
Right. So the piece starts in Ellis Island.
Okay.
And then move to India. And then come back to United States, Martin Luther King. And then I come to New York City, Strawberry. We end at Strawberry Field.
Okay.
And I projected the image of Imagine. When you go to Strawberry Field, you
In
see
Central Park.
In Central Park, you see it. Imagine that was projected onto the
ceiling of the church.
Ceiling of the church. And so the audience, the very end of Ahimsa, you look up and when you look up, I remembered John Lennon and everybody that took their lives to make the world a better place. And I wanted to express what it was to drive these people who worked so hard to make the world a better place, and what is it that we still believe in? We still want to hope. What is it? And I wanted to boil it down and take that essence and bring it to transfiguration as a result of ahimsa. Yeah, and we brought my friend Kiichiro Adachi creates this beautiful mirror sculpture. When you turn it, the refraction just fill the church, right?
Wow.
The petal of light.
What I find interesting is, what's the core emotions? What's the core, like, sort of feelings and activities that we all share and that we can share together?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, would you guys say that that's kind of like a thread throughout your collaboration? And
Yes.
yeah,
For sure, yeah.
like how?
So of course, you know the famous quote of Leonard Bernstein about the response to violence should be to bring more beauty into the world.
Sure.
So he hit the nail on the head there.
No.
And so in response to the things that are going on in the world that should be terrifying to all of us, my response is to bring music that just touches that place in us, that's common to all of us, that brings peace. And it's just like throwing those calming vibrations out into the world.
My name is Jean-Christophe Rosaz. I'm a French-Swiss composer. The Forest Speaks to Me is a song which is particularly close to my heart, first of all because of the meaning and beauty of the poem by Chief Dan George. There is this presence of nature that inspired me. For 3 years we have chosen to live near fields and trees among the animals. From the content of his text, I would say that it is a sacred work. I have also read a certain number of books by Native American authors, loving to nourish myself with their wisdom, a connection with nature.
The softness of the air, the crunch of the grass. Speaks to the summit of the mountain strength of fire.